Hello, my name is April, and I'll be the instructor today for Understanding by Design, or UBD. We're going to begin this workshop and take a closer look at the UBD template, starting with Stage 1, Identify Desired Results. So let's get started. Stage 1, Identify Desired Results. UBD facilitates a backward design process. And what that means is you begin where normally would be the end in other design processes. So for planning, the end would be the desired result. So let's take a deeper look at what our template looks like. Desired results. Your first section is on the course and unit summary. So basically, pretty self-explanatory, the details of the course. Um, Subject discipline, uh, the name of the class and number of the class, if specifically if you're with a school, the time frame, grade level, keywords, district, university, or organization, school department or corporation, type of school or organization. So, is this a public school, private school, charter school? Or if you're in the corporate realm, is it a corporation or specifically a curriculum for a training company? Next, you'll discuss the textbook any textbooks that are required for the unit or course. And of course, links to online resource material. So, in addition to the actual textbook, if you have any online resources um, that are important for students to have access to, you can go ahead and put the link here. Next, we cover basic information about the unit, the title, the time frame. Where would this specific unit fit into the class, the overall class? And very important, the unit delivery. Is it face to face? Is it a completely online course? Or is it a combination, blend of the two? Next, we look at course design. Why are you developing this course? Is it a project? Do you plan to teach it at some point in the future? Are you part of a team that develops courses? Or any other reason you may have? The time frame to teach, and your level of expertise. Are you a subject matter expert, a future instructor, or course designer? A little ahead of ourselves, let me go back to this very important section, the unit summary. So in our unit summary is where we take an overview look of the unit. Give an overview of the unit in your own words. Use simple words. So in this section, you want to give an idea of some of the larger concepts of the unit. Um, and we want to use simple words so to get your meaning across to a wide audience, people that may not necessarily be in your field or domain. You don't want to use terminology that would put off anyone or may prevent them from taking your course when they may actually benefit from it. And next in the unit summary, here it says revised inspirational big idea. So before you begin the template, you should start thinking about what big idea is behind the course or unit that you're teaching. So you want it to be an inspirational because this big idea is actually going to tie all of the components of your unit together. And you'll see that as we go through stage 1 and into also stage 2 and stage 3. What connects all of these stages is going to be the big idea. And by that, it's basically an overview of why you'd be teaching this course and what overall concept you would want students to take away. At the end completion of your course, what takeaways do you want the students to have? And when thinking about that, you don't want it to just be, oh, to pass the test or something like that. You want to think long term, more conceptual ideas. And also, the big idea helps get people excited about your course and helps you get excited about your course. So that's a concept that will be revisited. Next, we have professional organizations for content. So here you want to list all professional organizations that would have competencies, standards, or requirements for this course. So for instance, if you're in education and the state that you teach in have standards or competencies that have to be met for the particular course that you're teaching, or even if you're not, even in a corporate training situation, the professional organization for your specific profession, maybe not even necessarily the profession, but just the domain in general. There may be competencies that are expected for a student of this course. So first you will want to just list that, the name of the organization, and then the URL. So whoever is looking over this template will be able to click on that and view more information about the professional organization. And the websites for organizations often list the competencies. And in this case, what we want to look at specifically. So you want to put the URL directly to those competencies here. And there is space for more than one organization. Next, we have the standards and or competencies. So in the previous section, we discussed professional organizations. In this section, you're going to list what content standards or competencies will this unit address. So when you go to those websites for the organizations, or this is where you want to view the standards and or competencies, the specific ones that relate back to your unit that you'll be teaching. You want to make sure that you pick standards that are relevant and appropriate to the unit. And let me go back up a little bit. Over here on the side is a section for the code, and where the standards and competencies are listed, they should be delineated with a number or code, and you want to make sure you put that specific code here, and you'll see why as we continue. So the next section we're going to look at on the template, transfer. What does the student need to be able to do in the future, perhaps in their career, in an environment that's different from the classroom without the support of the instructor? So, what kind of long-term independent accomplishments are desired? This is where you want to list specific long-term goals and desired accomplishments from your unit. So by the completion of your unit, what long-term goals, again going back to your big idea that you should have put down previously, what information from your unit do you want students to be able to take away in a different context or different class and be able to pull that knowledge or understanding out and apply it without being specifically prompted by an instructor? Just from their own connection to the material, they'll recognize that they are able to use this information or skill that's taken from the unit being taught here. So you want to list those here, as well as a code. You want to give each transfer a code. The next section we'll look at is meaning. And meaning is broken down into two parts: essential questions and understandings. So for essential question, what thought-provoking questions will foster inquiry, meaning making, and transfer. And you want to put that in the form of question. So when we talk about meaning, you want the students to not just have a basic understanding or be able to recite facts, but um, make a deeper connection with the material. And one way to do that is to have essential questions. So again, tying back to the big idea concepts, they should be open-ended questions that kind of spark some thought and spark them to think of maybe something from their past or something that has reoccurred. Maybe another quality of essential questions it may be a core idea or inquiry within the discipline. The essential question may spark information needed for learning core content, or the questions might engage a specific or diverse learner. So these are all aspects of an essential question. Next is understanding. What specifically do you want students to understand? What inferences should they make? So you want, again, going back kind of back to that big idea, not just basic information, but what do you want students to understand? And each sentence should start with, students will understand that. And you'll go ahead and list that information here. And each one of your understandings will also have a code. On the left is where it'll be the understanding code, and on the right, and I also want to mention that for the essential questions, you want to list the competency code. So going back to those competencies earlier in the template, you want to make sure your essential questions and understandings tie directly to one of the competencies that you listed before. And it can be more than one. Next, we look at acquisition. And acquisition is going to be broken down into knowledge and skills. So for knowledge, what facts and basic concepts should students know and be able to recall? So in our previous sections, we talked about big idea and transfer, understanding, and meaning. And that is basically the crux of understanding by design. But before you can get to that, there are some fundamental knowledge that is usually required before you can make those deeper connections and bigger ideas. So for instance, vocabulary, math facts, you can't necessarily make a leap to a bigger concept without having the foundation. And here's where we list the foundation knowledge, basic facts and concepts, and also skills. What discrete skills and processes should students be able to use? So depending on your domain or what type of unit you're teaching, there may be specific skills that are required at a basic level to be successful in your course and in the future. And again, we'll look to the left. Each skill has a code. The knowledge also has codes. And on the right, we want to continue to link back to competency codes, the competency codes that were listed earlier. Again, everything you want to be consistent with tying back to those competency codes. And again, you can't list more than one for each individual knowledge or skill. So that is the end of stage 1.